Pollen warnings glowed red on the phone before the sun had fully risen over Ilford. The air felt thick, even indoors, like London was carrying an invisible grit. Sneezy left the flat early anyway, mask tight, tissues packed, antihistamines already swallowed. Commuting was a necessity. Rent still existed. The multiverse fracture hadn't changed that part of England. The central line platform at Stratford smelled of damp coats and electricity. Screens flickered between train departures. A tannoy announcement repeated itself, slightly out of sync, then corrected as if nothing had happened. People just rolled their eyes and kept scrolling on their phones. A tickle started behind Sneezy's nose, small at first, then sharp. A breath held for too long. A swallow that did nothing. Fingers pinched the bridge of the nose through the mask with desperate care. But the sneeze broke through. For a split second, all sound vanished. The platform froze into a still photograph. A discarded newspaper hovered in midair. Then the world snapped back, and the date on the phone screen changed into something that didn't belong. The station was the same, but the posters were different. The ads on the escalator walls showed older faces. A familiar headline on a free paper announced an event that had already happened, already been forgotten. The lock screen showed the year, exactly 1 year earlier. Sneezy staggered up to street level and walked without direction, mask on, eyes scanning for proof that the mind hadn't fractured instead of the city. A shop display showed last year's Christmas stock still in promotional photos. A bus shelter had a timetable that had been replaced months ago. Panic finally arrived, late, like an overdue bill. A whole year had been stolen in a single breath. The next few hours were triage. Bank apps still open, but the balances matched last year's. Messages on the phone were old. A text thread with the landlord ended on a request that had already been dealt with in the lost future. Work emails asked for shifts that had already been survived once. Sneezy didn't report anything. Reporting meant questions. Questions meant forms. Forms meant a name in a system. England loved systems, and systems loved patterns. A plan formed around one simple rule: no sneezing, no tickle, no risk, no reset. The plan failed almost immediately. Dust in a stairwell near Forest Gate. A gust of warm air in a corner shop. The scent of cheap perfume on a packed bus. Each trigger forced the same internal fight. Hold the breath, pinch the nose, swallow the panic, and pray for control. The body, however, didn't care about prayers. A second sneeze happened that night in a cramped kitchen, alone and seemingly safe. The calendar shifted again. Another year fell away. Now it was 2 years earlier, with the same memories trapped in a body that hadn't yet lived them. Life was turning into a backward staircase, one step at a time, with no landing in sight. The first moral dilemma appeared, disguised as hope. There was now a knowledge advantage. A car crash that would happen in 6 months. A round of redundancies that would hit a friend's job. A violent argument that would end with flashing police lights outside a kebab shop. Sneezy could prevent some of it, but prevention required presence. Presence required risk. And risk required air, which carried dust. A month into the second rewind, a man in a work van clipped a cyclist at a junction, exactly as memory predicted. Sneezy lunged forward to pull the cyclist clear, a sleeve brushing close enough for breath to catch. The cyclist's eyes widened, a mix of gratitude and fury. And then, a sneeze struck at the worst possible moment. Warm breath pushing out through the mask, close to the cyclist's face. Both of them vanished from the street. The next second, they were standing in the same place, but a year earlier. The junction was quieter, the roadworks different, the air colder. The cyclist swore, then stopped, trying to understand the missing world around him. Sneezy tried to explain without sounding insane. The explanation landed like poison. The cyclist backed away, hands shaking, voice rising, demanding a name, demanding answers, demanding a way back to a life that had been accidentally erased. The fracture didn't offer refunds, only more resets. The cyclist became a shadow, following at a distance, a witness with nothing left to lose, filming everything on a phone that now showed an older date. But the footage showed nothing except two tired men and a city pretending to be stable. The first institutional ripple arrived as a simple council email. A borough announcement praised air quality resilience upgrades funded by an external partner. The partner's name sat at the bottom, Cromwell Applied Systems. A week later, vans appeared around Stratford again, parked where only contractors go, men in clean boots walking with clipboards and portable air sensors. But the sensors weren't for pollution. They were looking for something else. The moment a human breath rewrote a calendar, the cyclist was grabbed first. Not violently, efficiently. A van door opened, a hand on an elbow, a calm voice promising help. He was pushed inside and disappeared behind tinted glass. Sneezy ran on instinct, mask tight, lungs burning, nose itching from the exertion. Fear made the tickle worse. Fear made the sneeze inevitable. A handler stepped out from behind a pillar near the station entrance, moving like someone who already knew the route. A visitor badge flashed. Cromwell Applied Systems. The handler spoke softly, stepping closer, aiming for control through proximity. The handler's sleeve brushed the mask. The sneeze came. Both of them vanished together. A year earlier again. Cromwell was dragged backwards into a time before their sensors were installed. Before the vans had mapped the street. Before the contract was even signed. Cromwell had lost a year, but they didn't lose their memory. They gained a head start. A week later, Stratford filled with new contractors. Air filters appeared in station maintenance rooms that had never held them. A sealed meeting took place between a borough manager and a private consultant. The city was adjusting around the fracture as if it had always planned to. Sneezy sat alone in a rented room above a takeaway, staring at tissues and antihistamines, understanding the trap with cold clarity. Every panic sneeze didn't just save a life or erase a mistake. Every sneeze also carried the threat backward, giving it more time to prepare. Control was impossible. Breathing was required. The body would always betray the plan. The fracture didn't need cages of steel. It only needed a human nose and a company that learned faster than fear. To see how Cromwell uses their newfound advantage, you have to watch the next episode. Like this video and subscribe so you don't miss what happens when a procurement form, stamped 1 year earlier than it should be, lands on a desk, signed in ink that looks far too confident to be an accident.